Okay, we're back. We're talking about the declaratory ruling here, and we've gone through the monikers on page 2. Now we're on page 3, and we're going through the descriptions or the physical characteristics that the DNR has said. If your pig has even one of these characteristics, then your pig is feral. Feral pigs have been added to the invasive species order. And if you have a pig that has even one of these characteristics, they say that you are harboring an invasive species. Now, we surmise that an invasive species inspection would require that a conservation officer, or probably two of them, come up your driveway and say, we're here to conduct an inspection. So I wonder if you can tell them, get lost. I don't know. An invasive species inspection, I don't think you can, because invasive species inspections are actually designed for maritime. That's when you have foreign flagged vessels that come into the United States waters, through the seaway, into the lakes, and it might be a Norwegian frigate, and it's got a Norwegian captain that doesn't care about our environment. So he's supposed to blow his ballast tanks in the seaway or out at sea, I would reckon, not in the lakes. And so the DNR has the authority to board that ship and make sure that he's followed his checklist properly. That was what it was designed for, not farm animals. All right, let's go through this. We're on the next one. It's underfur. Zooscrofa exhibit the presence of underfur that is lighter in color, e.g. smoke gray to brown, than the overlying dark brown or black bristles guard hairs. All right, and we talked about the guard hairs. They're on the outside. The underfur is what heats and cools the animal. It's kind of like his long underwear. Most of us farmers, we wear long underwear in winter and in the summer because it cools us as well when we go swimming with it on and then put our clothes back on over it. All right, but that underfur is always lighter than the outer fur. Okay? That's every pig known to man has it like that. Okay, next one, juvenile coat patterns. Juvenile Zooscrofa exhibit striped coat patterns. I won't read the whole thing, it's just going to waste the time. We're going to get into this later, but all pigs, all swine, come from this animal right here, the Eurasian wild boar. They were captured, domesticated, and then selective breeding gives us our Poland China, our Yorkshires, Hampshires. Every pig, every breed of pig that you know comes from this guy right here. So a lot of their characteristics will show up generations and generations, hundreds of generations later. And striped baby piglets is very, very common. We raise Mangalitsa pigs. About half of the pigs that we farrow come out striped. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. And there's no rhyme or reason that I know of it. They lose their stripes by the time they hit about 2 months, and they go on to have whatever coat pattern they're going to have. And this is even the purest of pure blonde Mangalitsas, and I've had them here, they do come out striped. So that is a characteristic that even the purest of pure Mangalitsa people would have, and that would make that pig illegal. It actually would. And Shannon, remember, she told us that when your pigs have babies, send us a picture of them, and we'll let you know if you can keep them. So, okay, it starts getting funner here. Skeletal appearance. Zooscrofa, skeletal appearance is distinct. All right? That's the end of the sentence. Their skeletal appearance is distinct. All right, I guess that would mean that Zooscrofa domestica is not distinct. Do you see where I'm going with that? My hat is distinct. But you have to put it in context. My hat is distinct from my top hat that I wear occasionally when I'm farming. It's distinct. This is distinct because it has my logo on it, right? But they give no value is why Zooscrofa's skeleton is distinct. And we're talking a skeleton here. Mr. Conservation Officer comes up the driveway, looks at your pigs and he says, man, that skeletal appearance is very distinct. That is an illegal pig there, boy. Get rid of it. Well, how would he know? First of all, he might come up and say, I'm going to need you to take the flesh and hide off that so I can check out that skeletal appearance. All right, next one. Structures include skull morphology. All right, you might think that, well, I'm just not a biologist or a forester, so I don't know what skull morphology is, but I will tell you what skull morphology is. Skull morphology is the study of skulls. You measure them to see how they have gone from one skull with a certain group of parameters to another skull with a certain group of parameters. Maybe they do morph, maybe they don't morph, but it takes, generations of skulls to decide this is morphed from this to this. And it's really kind of difficult if you don't know the age of the animal or anything like that. So it's a tough thing to do, and the data is sketchy and it is up for interpretation at that. But to say that a characteristic of a feral pig is skull morphology doesn't make any sense. Morphology is a study of the morphing of skulls over time. See, so I think this one, this line item that Shannon put in here, I think she was getting ready to go on a vacation weekend and just had to get it finished up. So she threw in some big words figuring we weren't smart enough to figure them out. Okay, here's another smart word too. Dorsal profile. Okay, so feral pigs have dorsal profile. Dorsal profile. Right? Shannon definitely has a dorsal profile. Does that make her a feral pig? No. External body measurements, including tail length, head body length, hind foot length, ear length, snout length, shoulder height. Not a single value given. Okay, how can a conservation officer make any kind of inspection with this when he comes up and he says, boy, your pig has hind foot length? It's so nebulous that it isn't even close to being able to qualify these animals as falling into this category or not. And believe me, you can't qualify an animal as being feral by the way it looks. You can't do that. That would be like qualifying someone as homeless by the way they look. Homelessness has to do with not having a home and living out on the sidewalk or in the woods or something like that. Feral is not living under the supervision of human beings, but not necessarily in the woods. I mean, feral dogs down in Detroit, they're all over the city there. 50,000 of them. Okay, so this is kind of nebulous as can be, and why all the nebulousness in this? Okay, there's a principle that the DNR is trying to use, but they haven't mastered it quite yet. They didn't read the whole book. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Right? The Hegelian principle is I show you a problem, and then I provide you the answer to that problem. And because you're scared, you'll say, oh yeah, we'll take that. We'll take the answer to their problem. The problem they've shown you is feral swine running the state of Michigan, the beautiful state of Michigan. We're here, we're the heroes, we're going to conquer the feral swine. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's a list of characteristics. Pig's got any of these, we're going to exterminate them. We're going to shut it off right at the spigot. Right? That's what their plan is. But what it's going to do is it's going to hurt family farms terribly because a lot of us make our living off of swine. All right? But that's the Hegelian dialectic. They're not playing it very well because they didn't write this in a way that it could be questioned by just about anybody. I used to hate the declaratory ruling. I used to really hate it. But now I actually love it because they are distancing themselves from it so much that I think it's going to be our best friend when we go to trial. And that's the beauty of our system is our state can throw something at us like this, as stupid as this, but we have the authority as American citizens to say, let's go to court. All right. They'll play some other games, I'm sure, between now and then, but we'll keep working it. All right. Next one is tail structures. This one's good. Sus scrofa exhibit straight tails. Okay, your pig's got a straight tail. That's a feral pig. They contain the muscular structure to curl their tails if needed. What is that? If they're happy? But the tails are typically held straight. Hybrids of Sus scrofa exhibit either curly or straight tail structures. So, okay, they've really narrowed down the field right there. Pig with a curly tail, that's prohibited. Pig with a straight tail, that's prohibited. Okay, is there a middle ground on that? Of course there isn't. You know, some people have said, well, the confinement guys, like pork producers, they cut the tails off. Yeah, but they were born with a tail. So if they sent pictures of their piglets to Shannon when they were born, like Shannon wants us to, then Shannon would have to say, curly tail, kill that pig. So they chop the tail off. Maybe they take the picture after they chop the tail off. You know why they chop the tail off? Because in confinement, the animals are so frustrated because they have nothing to do that they cannibalize each other. And once they start biting tails, they'll keep going. They keep going. It's bad. All right. Then we'll go to the next one the next time we speak.